Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your boy, the SeanDavieWay Show. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in and tap that bell if you would like to be notified of all of our future content. Today, I bring you a video on the Avas, Ava Combs and Ava Baldwin. This also pulls Diddy inside of this story. We've discussed this on some live videos from the past, but I've always wanted to put it inside of a surviving so that the information could be a little bit more clear for the people that are confused by the same named girl Ava, and also how Diddy has anything to do with this story at all. I'm going to start off by breaking down Ava Baldwin's story, and we will merge into Ava Combs. Ava Baldwin is a missing person ever since September 2015, and she was only 6 years old when she disappeared with her mother, Catherine Baldwin. Her father, David Hopper, has been looking for Ava ever since 2015, and her mother, Catherine, has not been seen or heard of since the same date. Let's switch gears into Ava Baroni, aka Ava Combs, whom allegedly has been in the custody of Diddy and Kim Porter ever since she was a very young age. It hasn't been proven if Diddy's actually adopted Ava Baroni, but she is a foster child. She did get adopted by a family, but it is sealed. So we don't know if Diddy, in this viral video that went around, if he actually adopted her, or if a family close to Diddy's home or a neighbor or a friend of Diddy or Kim Porter's adopted this young lady, and she has been in the Combs' twins' life ever since they were basically infants. Of course, the internet went ablaze when Diddy came forward in 2020 with Ava stating that he adopted her because Ava Baldwin is the same age as Ava Baroni. Putting two and two together, the internet was assuming that Ava Baroni is the missing girl, Ava Baldwin. Let's get into the video of Diddy coming forward with his family stating that Ava Baldwin is a Combs and was adopted into the family.
Ava, I'm a Scorpio.
The internet was set on fire, and everybody started to have these accusations and narratives that they decided to run with about Ava Baroni allegedly being Ava Baldwin. This is how the story got a new traction and moving parts. Allegedly, Diddy and his family were joking around when they were saying that Ava Baroni is adopted into the family and that Diddy's her new father and that he was, doing what Charlize Theron and Angelina Jolie and others have done by adopting black children. He wanted to give Ava the experience of having an adopted black father. The problem with this is that Ava is actually adopted, that Ava could be an adopted child of Diddy's. But if this is a joke, why joke around? I mean by this was a joke. If it was a joke, then Diddy and his family should have came forward and said that this was a joke. Joking around is when you keep the joke going. To this day, in 2024, Diddy, Quincy, Christian, none of them have come forward and said that Ava is not actually adopted by Diddy, that she is not their adopted sister. So the internet and people that are allegedly connected to Diddy have came forward and said that they were just joking around, that Diddy was joking in this viral video. But again, Diddy has never said this himself, and Ava is not a child that people know. So if this was like LeBron James's kids or something like that, whom are close to Diddy and their family and have been raised around them, and Diddy was jokingly coming forward saying that he adopted a child that we all know belongs to somebody else, then yeah, that's a joke. But to do it with a child that we have no background on or no history on really besides being around you is not a good joke. It's not, if you are not going to label it as one immediately. And again, in this day in 2024, Diddy has never came forward and said that this was a joke. If Diddy would have came forward a long time ago, around 2020, when he came forward and said that Ava was adopted, then he could have got rid of all of the rumors that she is allegedly the missing daughter of David Hopper and Catherine Baldwin. There would be no reason for people to link the two young ladies together, because it's eerie that both of them are technically adopted. Now, we don't even know if Ava Baldwin is still alive or anything like that. I pray to God that she is. But if she is, it's a high probability that she has been adopted out to someone and doesn't necessarily know, since she was so young, that she is a missing person. It happens every day, to where people find out later on in life that they were actually kidnapped and, other things. So yeah, I do believe that he could have exonerated himself and made it so that people weren't like researching Ava Baroni and all of that good stuff. If he would have just came forward and said that they were just joking around. Again, it's not a good joke. Drifting back into Ava Baldwin. Ava Baroni coming forward, telling the story of how she came into Diddy's presence and into Diddy's custody, allegedly, would be the same story as Ava Baldwin. Their names are already the same. Their last names both start with B, and they also are the same age. So it's just way too eerie. I understand why people are linking these two young women together, because again, Ava Baldwin disappeared when she was 6 years old. The body changes, facial features change, a lot changes, right? So it is a high probability that this could be the same girl. We just need proof. So before we get into is this her, isn't this her, let's explain Ava Baldwin's full story, and then we will get back into Ava Baroni, aka Ava Combs. On my research of Ava Baldwin, my spidey senses definitely started going up. And again, I do not want to disrespect David Hopper in any type of way. I am just not a fan of him making it seem as if he does not know what happened to his daughter and what happened to his ex-wife. It happens every day in America, and for some reason, David Hopper may be getting away with it. So my question is, and what I want you to think about for the remainder of this video, is David Hopper a victim, or is David Hopper the aggressor? Let's get into it. Father of a Texas girl who disappeared from San Antonio in September 2015 when she was 6 years old believes his ex-wife of just 34 days is hiding her. David Hopper and Catherine Katie Baldwin were married for just 34 days before they decided to split. He only learned during divorce proceedings that she was pregnant with their daughter, Ava Grace Baldwin, who is now 14 years old. David's quote, "I met her at a recovery group called Celebrate Recovery, and she had a great story. Come to find out, it wasn't true." Hopper, who lives in Oklahoma, told Fox News Digital. Side note, this article was published in October 2023, so at this point in time, Ava would be 16 or turning 16. Another thing I want you guys to pay attention to is that he said that he and Catherine, which is Ava's mother, were married for 34 days before they decided to split. Not only that, he said that he met her at a recovery group called Celebrate Recovery. So that means he has his own skeletons as well. He has his own problems with sobriety and whatnot himself, but he only talks about Catherine's. He only makes it seem as if she's just such this bad person that shouldn't be trusted with a child. But again, he has his own skeletons, his own problems with sobriety, drugs, alcohol, among other things. So let's not point the finger if we're not willing to point it at ourselves and take accountability for our own actions, instead of consistently pointing out the fact that Catherine had problems with substances and whatnot. You did too. So if you're not going to own your own stuff, don't talk about anybody else's. Moving right along. They had a whirlwind courtship followed by a small marriage shortly after meeting, only to file for divorce just over a month later. It was during the separation process that Baldwin said she was pregnant, but she apparently claimed Hopper was not the father. A court-ordered DNA test would prove otherwise. Side note, so again, they were married for a short time, 34 days, then they got divorced. She finds out she's pregnant and tells David that he is not the father. David gets a court-ordered DNA test to find out that he is Ava's father. Now, it's not pointing out the fact again that Catherine said that David wasn't the father. It's the fact that if he's such this good man, why wouldn't she want him to be the father? I understand they were getting a divorce and all of that good stuff, but why involve the child? Why would Catherine not want David to have anything to do with her child to the point to where she would lie and say that the child was not David's? It gives that a lot happened in that 34 days. David, you are not innocent. You're not. If you are a good man and will be a good father, you don't have any children and all of that, even more reason for her to give you the child. I don't think this was just you guys have problems with each other because of what happened within your marriage. I think that you are way more evil, David, than you are willing to let on. Because again, you met her at a basically sober house or rehab facility. Why would you date someone like that anyway? You say that her story was fake, all of this stuff, but you married her so quickly. And yeah, there's a lot that you are not explaining. You know a lot more that happened in that marriage in those 34 days that you are willing to lead on to. I'm sorry. I just do not trust David. I don't. I'm not defending Catherine. Catherine hasn't spoke. So I do not know Catherine's side of the story. And there's always three: her side, his side, and the truth. He clearly has bad blood for her and doesn't like her at all, Catherine. And I believe it's the same way with Catherine, but I would love to hear her side of the story, because most parents that don't want their child around the other parent, there's something behind it. Rather, they put their hands on them, or so many other things could have happened, or they saw some behavior or heard some behavior of them doing it with somebody else or someone else's child or something, so they don't want their child around this person. You just never know. But it does give a sense of Catherine felt that she had to take her daughter away from him so that he did not see her, that she was trying to protect her daughter from this man in some way, shape, or form. The pair eventually began making plans to raise Ava together, even though they were no longer married. However, after Ava was born, Baldwin moved to San Antonio and would disappear for days at a time without contacting Hopper, he recalls. The first time she went missing for days, Hopper's sister found Baldwin's MySpace profile and was able to get in touch with her through the once popular social media platform. Side note, Catherine moved to San Antonio right after Ava was born. So Catherine at least lived there for 6 years. How did she not have an address, and how did David not know exactly where she lived if he had been sharing custody with this woman and their daughter for at least 6 years? That is very confusing to me. And another thing that is confusing, that in 2015, MySpace was no longer popular. No one really used that app at all, or website at all. It was more so of a Facebook and onward forward, like Snapchat, all that other good stuff. So I'm very perplexed by the whole she got in contact, which would be David's sister, got in contact with Catherine through her MySpace profile. I don't know. But let's keep going. A complicated custody battle began between Oklahoma and Texas at first, and then just Texas. Hopper, who hired multiple lawyers in each state and spent tens of thousands of dollars in legal and travel-related costs, was granted partial custody of his daughter in May 2013 and full custody in July 2017, 2 years after Ava was reported missing. That is according to Hopper's sister, Tina Hopper Fulbright, who has kept years of court records filed away in hopes of Ava's safe return. Ava was enrolled in a private school in San Antonio when she disappeared. David's quote, "The principal contacted me one day and said, 'Your daughter's been missing for 21 days. Hopper said that was when he officially reported his daughter missing to authorities on September 17th, 2015. Police went to the address listed as Ava's home on her school forms and found an empty lot, he explained. Hopper believes his ex-wife panicked at the thought of Hopper getting full custody of their daughter and ran off with her. Side note, if David was such a worried father, protective father, loving father, worried about all of this money that he's spending, over $45,000 in lawyer fees and travel fees and all of these things to get his daughter, how did he not know that she was missing for almost a month? If the school hadn't seen Ava in 21 days, kept trying to contact her mother, and they could not reach her, and then reaching out to you, and you not even knowing that she was missing, makes you what kind of father? A bad one. Only bad fathers do things like that. You should have known that your daughter was missing within 48 hours. So if the school calls you and says she hasn't been here in 21 days, how do you know exactly how long she's been missing? You have no idea because you're not doing what you need to do as a father. So again, I am side-eyeing David because a whole month goes by and you have no idea that your daughter not only isn't in school, but you clearly have not seen her either. So I think, in my own opinion, that David had something to do with this. For the school to send the police to the address that they had on file and it was an empty lot, how do you as a father not know where your daughter lives? Whether your daughter lives in a home, whether she doesn't live in a home, whether she's living in a street, a car. You should know those things if you're so concerned. Clearly, you are not concerned about this girl. It does give that you wanted this custody of her so that you didn't have to pay child support to a mother that you hate because you despise her mother. Again, case in point, why does he keep saying that his daughter is missing when no one has seen his ex-wife from the same date? Why does David not say his ex-wife and his daughter is missing? He says that Ava is missing and his ex-wife is hiding her. No, they have both been missing the same date. So if you're worried about Ava, you should be just as worried about her mother because you don't know what happened. David has said that her mom is known, Catherine is known for disappearing for days. David, weeks it had been that she had disappeared. You said days was normal. Weeks is not. So why wouldn't you think that something may be wrong with her mother as well if they haven't been seen for the same amount of time? Why wouldn't you be just as worried about her mom? I get that you don't care about her. I've had disagreements with my kid's mother or anything like that, but if she just disappeared, God forbid, I would be worried about her. I would be scared. I would be nervous. I know her family would be worried and scared, and I know everybody will be contacting me because her and I are close or we're close, and whatnot. So what's the thing with David? Why does he have no care in the world for his ex-wife? Because I feel that David has already come to terms with his ex-wife is deceased. So he doesn't worry about somebody that he knows is gone, but he has hopes that Ava isn't. I don't know. There's so many red flags here. It's you can't avoid them. Quote from David. It might be somebody, a parent, that may have a friend that Ava goes and sees, Hopper said, of his hope that someone out there knows where Ava might be. You just never know who that one person is. And we know that there are people who do know something. David's quote continued, I think Katie thought that we were coming to court with her in October 2015. Hopper said Fulbright said, we don't know if Katie still has Ava. We don't know if Ava's been adopted out. We don't know. We just don't know. We just believe she's alive. Side note, the more David talks, the more I just don't believe him. He is alleging that in October, which is true, that he had a court date with his ex-wife, Catherine, about a full custody agreement of him having Ava permanently and having custodial custody of her. And he feels that she was trying to leave so that she could avoid going to court, which will make matters worse. So I don't believe that if you are battling to keep your daughter, the last thing you will want to do is run, because then he's going to win automatically. So why leave? And they have been to court before. So if she made all of those court appearances and whatnot to the judge granted you joint custody, why would she run now? That doesn't make any sense to me. The thing that doesn't make sense that he said, he thinks that Ava may be with a friend that she goes and sees with her mom. So places that she'd stop, rather a friend, acquaintance, somebody she just met, and they would just hang out at their house, whether they had kids or didn't have kids, that Ava may be with them and they aren't giving her up. I don't believe that either. Ava's case of being a missing person is too big for people not to know immediately that this is the girl that the world is looking for. So how can you hide her? She would have to go to school. There would be so many other things that she would have to do to be in the world in some way, shape, or form to leave a print behind or a breadcrumb behind for someone to follow. She has just disappeared since September 2015. So I'm going to call BS on that. There is no friend that Ava goes and sees that has her. That does not make sense either. If it also states that he doesn't know if Ava has been adopted out. Again, I'm gonna have to call BS on that as well. Ava's case is too public for her not to have been found in the foster or adoption system. Again, if CPS or a child goes into foster care, the family is always reached out to if they can find the family. Ava's case being so public and mainstream, they would have found David or at least his sister or someone immediately, or even in Catherine's family, so that Ava could be reunited with her family. They would rather a child stick with their blood family than put them into the system at all. So they would definitely get in contact, and with her being only 6 years old, they would have found David immediately. So I do not believe that either. I don't think that she got adopted out. It's too many protocols that these systems have to go through. There's many missing people in the world. So when a child goes into CPS that doesn't have a family or is found on the street or something like that, they always put them in the databases to make sure that they're not like a runaway or missing or something like that. So I do not believe David. David also says that he doesn't know if Katie even still has Ava. Again, why would Katie be on the run, in David's opinion, because she was trying to remove the responsibility of going to court so that David would get full custody of Ava, because Catherine doesn't want David to have her, just to give her child to somebody else? Why leave to give your child away when you can just give your child to her father, somebody that allegedly wants her, has the funds, the home, all of that to be able to take care of her, is close to her if she lives in San Antonio, Texas, and David stays in Oklahoma? Why give your kid to somebody else? She's still going to be in trouble. So what would be the point? There isn't one. David also states that he knows that somebody out there knows something, and I would agree with David. It's David. David definitely knows. I don't care what anyone says. And again, this is just my opinion. He definitely knows what happened to Catherine. Now, he may not be as firm on what happened to Ava, but he knows what happened to Catherine. Catherine had enemies, I'm sure she did, but her biggest enemy before the time of her disappearing was David. He was suspect number one in the process of trying to get his daughter, just divorce her, a tumultuous relationship. They did not get along at all whatsoever. There are so many different components to where David has the upper hand or the motive to hurt Catherine. Let's keep going. Looking at all the times that David has spoke out, if you notice, not the public speaking out, David, he never says, look for Catherine. Catherine should have the bigger target on her back when it comes to David, because Catherine is the key. How do you find Ava without Catherine? So him making it seem as if Ava is still alive and that he doesn't know the whereabouts of Catherine or if she still has Ava or anything like that, it gives that she's no longer here. She's no longer with us. David knows something about Catherine that we don't know. Because, again, she is the key to finding Ava. Ava was 6 years old when she went missing. Being that young, a lot you're not going to remember. So if she gave Ava to a family, the most Ava's going to remember is her mother. So why not find Catherine instead of make her out to be this horrible person? David does not want Catherine looked at as a victim. He said multiple times in multiple interviews that she is a user. She uses Ava as a meal ticket. She is an addict. She's this, she's that. He never has anything good to say about her. You would hope, at least I would hope, that my daughter was still with her mom, because I know at the end of the day, she's going to some way, shape, or form protect her. Why list it as if Ava is out there alone if you do not know that for sure? David speaks as if he knows that Ava is not with Catherine, which draws one of the biggest red flags of all. The police cannot act on David and file a case or open a case against him of something happening to Catherine or Ava because there is no bodies. No one has found either person's body, so they are presumed to still be alive. So until some bones or a corpse or something like that is discovered, they cannot do an investigation on David as like homicide or anything like that, because again, there is no bodies. But I'm sure that is what the police is waiting for, because the time frame of Ava and her mother Catherine missing, it's a high probability that both of them are deceased. Not that Catherine's somewhere living her life and Ava's with another family. No, David puts the optics out there of Catherine as being an addict that you can't trust. So if she's so untrustworthy and so irresponsible, how could she have just disappeared without a trace with her daughter for almost 10 years? How is that possible if she's so irresponsible? She's such an addict. She's such a this. She's such a that. She was a loser that was irresponsible before disappearing, but disappeared and became the most responsible, strategic, intelligent person ever. No, an addict is going to make mistakes. Catherine's been in jail plenty of times and things in that nature. She hasn't been arrested. Nothing has been listed of. They literally disappeared. That gives death, not missing person. I love you all. I hope you enjoyed. We will be back with part 2. We are truly just getting started. The next installment will drop within 48 hours. Please drop a comment below. Please pray for Ava and her mother. Until the next video, hit that like and subscribe on the way in or out. I'm SeanDavieWay. Bye.
Hey everybody, this is David, and I just want to say thank you. Ava's cases went viral, and I cannot say thank you enough to everybody who has reached out. The letters, the comments, people sharing her story. Thank each and every one of you so much. And I pray God richly blesses your lives for taking the time and sharing her story. I'm overwhelmed, and I can't thank you all enough. God bless each and every one of you.